Um, so first of all, I totally agree that people come from all sorts of different directions. We've had, on our kind of coaching course, we've had Arctic explorers, ex-army officers, NHS people, just absolutely anything you can kind of think about. I got here by, I suppose, both frustration and opportunity. Originally I trained as a psychotherapist, and it was a long time ago, kind of 25, 30 years ago. At that point, I knew that I wanted to help people, and I didn't really know how to do it, so I signed up for a course, and it happened to be Freudian psychotherapy. I don't know how much you know about that, but it was pretty dark. It didn't suit me, it didn't suit my personality, and it didn't really suit the clients that I was working with. So after years of kind of trying to get this right, I started to look for other ways of working, chanced upon NLP, some kind of solution-focused ways of working that were, at that time, all that time ago, quite new, and really put together my own sort of method, my own model of working. About that time, I started to hear about a thing called coaching that was coming over from the States, and I figured I was already doing it. I'd kind of blended together my knowledge of psychotherapy and my knowledge of personal development and business, and I think I was probably one of the first coaches who wasn't trained in coaching, and that was how it happened, really. I then decided to ensure that I trained people, because I had a feeling that this industry was going to take off. So about 20 years ago, I put together the first coach training course, got it accredited by university, and what I wanted to do is take all the lessons that I had learned from psychotherapy training, what worked and what didn't work, and put them into coaching. Okay, we've got a really simple process. We ask 3 questions at the end of our coaching interventions. The first one is of the client. What has been the personal benefit to you of this? The next one is of the client. What's been the professional benefit to you of this? And the final one is of the client still. What do you think the financial benefit has been to the organisation? We ask the client to estimate that or calculate that themselves, because sometimes the very person who's had coaching will know that as a result of the coaching they won a contract that they wouldn't have won. That's how we do it, quite simply. It's not very scientific and it's not very technical, but it's very human. That said, John, my experience of organisations is that they get a bad press about this, and they're pretty canny and they're pretty clued up, and most organisations don't buy coaching on the basis of what the outcome's going to be. They buy coaching because they believe in it as a really good professional development programme, and most are happy to say, whatever the outcome, we trust that the process will do what it needs to do. I think probably, if you'd asked me a few years ago, I'd have said always face-to-face, especially coming from that kind of psychotherapy background that I came from. Now I would say it's different. I would say yes, you can use learning technologies, and that's because a few things have changed. I think learning technologies are better. I remember trying to coach people over Skype in the early days of Skype, and the connection kept going. It was just frustrating. So I think learning technologies are better. I think we're all used to working remotely now. I think lots of managers I work with, lots of teams I work with are scattered all over the world and never see one another. And I think things even like TED Talks have kind of brought together the idea of technology and development generally. So yeah, we use it for coach training, we use it for supervision, I use it for coaching, but only when I've met someone first. That's what I'm hanging on to. I need a relationship with them first. I think a few things are going to continue to develop. So I think accreditation will continue to develop, and I don't think in 5 years we will have the status of a profession. I think we'll still be an industry struggling for some kind of regulation. I think organisations will get even more clued up and educated about how to use coaching most appropriately. Something I've seen happen over the last 5 years, and I think that's going to get even tighter. And I think that will mean that they will make coaching fit with their overall business strategy more tightly. I think that they will develop internal coaching capability even more, which we're seeing happening all the time. Something that I'm already seeing happening and I think will grow is the sort of partnering of organisations in coach training. So particularly in the public sector, there are lots of kind of coaching academies popping up. In geographic areas, there'll be perhaps a local council, a university, an NHS trust, and they pool their resources to train coaches. And then they kind of share those coaches to coach within one of those organisations. I think that will grow. I think the blurring lines between coaching and therapy will continue to blur. And I think coaching will become even more part of our kind of public awareness. I think it's creeping much more into public awareness. So we sell some coaching resources like coaching cards, and it isn't just coaches who buy them. I hear all the time that kind of members of the public are buying them and find them really useful. The Voice on TV has coaches. I think it's just becoming part of, what we talk about now.